Hey everybody, hope you're having a good day today. Recently, I had the privilege of interviewing an old friend of mine, Anvi Mehta. Anvi will tell you all about herself, but I want to tell you why she inspired me. I named two batches of soaps after her. One, ginger ale, and the second one for her and her amazing sister called Khatta Meeta. Anvi was my POC, my point of contact, when I had joined the State Bank of India Youth for India Fellowship. She helped me through the whole process. There were times during my fellowship where I wanted to quit. I had problems with the local organization, the NGO, and I really wondered what I was doing here. That is when Anvi came to my aid. I would even call her up at 1 o'clock in the morning and she would provide viable solutions to the problems I had encountered, taking her experiences in mind. In this short interview, I wanted to understand her view of sustainability, whether we can consistently sustain ourselves, taking examples from her experiences in this sector, in the rural sector, and provide us any solutions if possible, maybe minute, so that we can all inculcate it and make it a habit. So let's begin.
Hi, Anvi. Thank you so much for joining me for today's short discussion. Uh, I was really looking forward to today. So, for everybody out there, just do tell us something about yourself.
Thanks, Aubrey. Thanks for having me. So I am a policy communications officer. I work in Delhi, and I have uh, in a rural setup before. I have worked on my own enterprises. I was a social entrepreneur of sorts, and I have also done a fellowship that both of us have done actually, SBI Youth for India Fellowship. But yeah, that's about it. That's my experience so far. Um, I mean, that's my introduction. I can't say much more than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a bit. And when it comes to your State Bank of India Youth for India Fellowship and your startups, what has been your biggest learning from those two experiences?
So there were a lot of learnings, but because we are going to talk more about sustainability in this video, so I'd like to focus on that. So me, when went to the rural setup for the first time in my life, I realized that the rural way of life is sustainable in its own, and it is us who is trying to damage that bit by introducing development. I mean, that is one thing which this whole experience made me think, are we developing rural India by introducing certain things, or are we actually trying to make them like our cities are, which is polluted, which is lack of waste management systems, etc. Because when I went there, I met a few oldies, and the oldies, they told me stories of how they used to, like, they manage their own waste. They did the what is that called? Um, did all the recycling of their wet waste even before it was a big thing. Even before, when the urban cities had it, they used to do it. On the other hand, I also met a few youngsters where a 3-year-old, 4-year-old want a packet of chips. They want Maggie. They want all those processed packaged food, which is not a problem. It's okay, like all of us have it. But the problem is the plastic that it generated, the plastic waste that it generated. So that bit was a problem, not to just, like, that was a very visible problem. And a lot of oldies blamed it on the development. They wanted roads, but they did not want those roads only to be used for outside products to be coming in. They were hoping that their products would go out, but something different happened. So yeah.
No, because what you've said,
That is something that I've totally learned from.
there's one thing I want to say is what you said is incredibly deep, and where, to be honest with you, where has plastic come from? What products are being sold, right? So one of the scary points for me when I had gone there was try to find a clean road, the sides of the road. It's very difficult to find clean road sides. Okay. Number two,
Yes,
it's getting really scary because all the plastic gets onto the fields at the side. No, so it's like a lot of plastic. When you dig there, you'll find plastic in the
yes.
ground, right? And भैया और क्या करें हम? Now, my biggest issue is in urban India we talk too much, okay, and we love hypocrisy. We
Yeah.
have to do this, we have to do that. What should urban India learn from rural India before we can say anything to them?
There's a lot to learn, starting with the fact that reuse things, don't throw them off. Like I have seen, this is a very interesting thing, but when I went to one of these Didi's house, she had a lot of Davidoff bottles, coffee bottles, and these very fancy plastic dabbas which she used to store grain and sugar and stuff. And I asked her, are you using Davidoff coffee? Because it's a very premium coffee, right? For a rural person to use it, it was very this thing. She was like, no. She said ki there were some people like me from the city who had come some months ago, and she used to go cook for them. And when they left all the trash like that in the house. Okay. And then from there, she was like, these are such nice bottles, such nice containers. And she didn't have them. So she was like, I will reuse them. So my point is, why can't we do that? There's a lot of scope for reuse. We don't do it. There's a lot of scope of upcycling as well, which they do. It's in their culture. It's something that it's not even a hip trend for them. But we can also do it, but we don't. Like I know I'm sounding a little hypocrite here because I myself try a lot, but it gets difficult. But yeah, I think there's a lot of such small things that you can learn from the rural folks, because even food wastage, they look down upon people who waste food. Like they literally look down upon people because they are growing this food. They know how difficult it is to grow these grains, you know so they have a system where if they will cook minimal quantity, and if there is extra food, they make sure that they actually ask people around them and
Wow.
feed them. Or if there is extra rice or roti or something, they'll feed it to the animals. We throw it off. Yeah, that's something. Food wastage is something that it hurts me to say that even I've been part of it quite a lot of times, I think, but I hate it when that happens. There's something we can definitely learn.
Now, when it comes to sustainability, we talk about SDG goals. Okay, you have 17 SDG goals, poverty, water, etc. How many goals do you think can be achievable by a country? I know it's a very macro way, but taking micro examples,
Yeah,
could you kind of give us an idea of what do you think is feasible in, say, another 2 years if we take these goals seriously? What needs to be done?
so I think we are doing a lot of things. There are quite a few programs in say net zero emissions, the goal that we have for 2030 or 2070. Yeah, net zero goal, emissions goal. Then we have poverty, for poverty also we are doing quite a few livelihoods programs, etc. So the government, I think, is doing their bit. They're trying their bit. We don't know how much they're going to succeed, but as an individual, what we can do is we can try and support. I would want to bring the entrepreneurship angle here. I think we should start by supporting local farmers, local businesses. And I think there's a lot of sustainable options that are in market right now for a lot of things, like right from food, organic food, to sustainable packaging. There's a lot of nature friendly things that will help us achieve one of these SDG goals, we can try and support these enterprises, because right now these enterprises are facing a problem of scaling up, of marketing their products, of selling their products. Probably if all of us decide to, like, invest a little more and buy from such products, such organizations, or be with the organizations who are working towards these goals, then maybe we can contribute individually as well. Because it's important that collectively we also understand, if we are buying something, if we are doing something, then are we impacting negatively or are we contributing to achieving these goals? That is something we could keep in mind.
You've hit a point which, again, it's really serious, because it's not that the government is not doing anything. They are trying. There are
Yeah,
various
they
ways
are.
now, and they are doing. I have seen people doing. I mean, but the problem where I see it is us as consumers, and every time everybody starts blaming, yeah, these guys go there. I have done it, because obviously I've seen that. I won't say there's like it's absolutely 100%. There is corruption, no doubt about it, right? But people are trying, right? But when it comes to urban Indian, the people, many don't want to change. Okay, I you make small strides in saying, uh, plastic straws to paper straws. That's very nice. That's fantastic. That's a small step,
Yeah.
right? Do you think, or how long do you think will people take a city really get to supporting our own country, local business, or supporting rural businesses? How long do you think that will take?
It's a vicious cycle, yeah. Like, I feel it's like, I myself have tried to understand if there is any solution to this, but there's a very small niche crowd who can afford all these sustainable acts, to be honest. But it's just a very small percentage. Most of them are middle class. So probably the government can help in increasing subsidies or reducing taxes on these products. I'm not really sure of what the taxes, GST, and all this is right now. Okay. But I think this could be, if it's high on the higher side, it could be reduced. Probably we could identify a few enterprises and work with them towards giving them a logistical support, packaging support, etc., to reduce their uh, prices. There's a lot that could be done, to be honest. I mean, but it's going to take a long time, that's for sure, because there's not one single solution.
No,
It can't be like, okay, Aubrey, let's do this and everything would be fine. There's a series of things. There's a process that has to be followed, and it is happening. I could say people are opening up to such products as well. People are also opening up, and they are also okay with spending a little more because they've understood quite a few things. But
do
it's
you
going to
think?
take time. I don't think I'm an expert at this to tell
No,
you how much time.
no, but so the outcome of this conversation right now, what you've said is what I've understood is, so for example, we are either outpricing the middle class when it comes to sustainability, or we are underpricing it, where they are saying, what, this is not for us, right? It, like for example, what rural, the way they're doing, right, where you see whatever they have farms, so they are using whatever waste, wet waste there, and they're putting it into the farms as your manure, right? The
Yeah.
middle class who are in the city, they don't have to do that, so they cannot do that. Other prices are little more higher than sustainability, right? So do you feel like something that could be within the price range, do you think that is much more feasible?
Maybe, maybe, and also I think coming together as communities also to support, like I've seen in Pune, I have seen a lot of societies, or these welfare societies do farmers market. I think Bangalore also has them getting products directly from the farmers. Something like that, which is a less fancier version of farmers market. Like, we have these Mondays, vegetable Mondays. We can make a smaller version of it for localized areas. When it comes to waste, also, we could give an incentive to societies, which happens in Pune. I'm not sure of the rest of the country, but if you have these manure making, the, I don't know what's it called, but yeah, if we have those,
Waste to
if you
fuel?
make your yeah, if you recycle your own wet waste
Yeah.
in societies, then this manure could be sold, and it's a price incentive again. um Things like that could help. I mean, I think urban people can come together, and middle class especially can can start at least showing interest in buying these products which are sustainable. Like for example, I'm in Delhi right now, right? It hurts me to say that every time I go to an event, there are these small water bottles there, the plastic ones. Don't have them. Have like a jar and glasses. What's the problem? If I'm out somewhere, there's plastic glasses used, or the cutlery is still plastic. There are plastic bags still given. That ways, these things could be improved upon. Like there are just a few, uh, like these smaller shop people, they won't go for sustainable stuff because it increases their price point. So who is going to pay for it? Is the middle class going to pay for it? Are the shopkeepers going to bear the expenses, or is the government giving some subsidy? What are we going to do? Like, it's just like a
So,
thing that I think of, and I don't know if it makes any sense, to be honest.
so what I'm going to do something because of you, and I want to thank you right now. So tomorrow I'm traveling back to Pandhanam in Bangalore, and I am going to carry my own
Okay.
glass for tea. I'm not going to use any more
Yeah,
plastic
I mean, why
anymore.
not?
I'm going to do that. So just, I mean, you even have those foldable cups, right? So that's what I'm going
Yeah,
to do.
and I really feel like a hypocrite right now because I'm saying all this, we can do this, we can do that. I don't know how much do I follow. Like the amount of food sometimes I order, I feel bad. I have started cooking whenever my maid's not here because I've realized that I waste a lot of money ordering out, and B, there's always so much waste that comes out. Like, it just feels bad putting that trash का थैला outside, and then every time thinking कि यार क्या सोच रहे होंगे कचरे वाले भैया कि इतना कचरा करते हैं ये लोग, दो लोग. That guilt, it always takes over. And I have these ideas, but what's stopping me? It's what, I don't know. I always think about it, but I really never understand what's stopping me. You've spoken to people about this? What stops urban folks? We know what rural India is great. It's always going to be great.
So
But
it's like this, right?
what's stopping urban folk?
Because we are lazy. Okay, and the
Okay.
reason is, ठीक है मैंने कर लिया. Okay, I've done it for 1 day, I've done it for 2 days. यार third day यार छोड़ दो यार, नहीं हो पाएगा, it's not gonna happen यार. How much? अरे look at them, they are doing it यार. Now we'll only do this much. So if they are doing it
Have
यार,
we given up on hope? Like, I think we've given up on hope कि क्या होगा मेरे करने से. मैं एक अगर
अरे but they are doing it, why can't we? And when we do tell them don't do this, it's a go tell them
But I
first, no?
think we've become more pessimist. What will happen if I do it? Earth is anyway going down the drain. I think we're all losing on hope. We need somebody to cheer us up, tell us that
Okay,
it's okay, life
here
is not
comes
yet so
now.
bad.
Here is the question I've been building up onto, because you're in policy. I don't know if this is going to be, and this whole thing has built up to this question. Do you think the government should make much stronger laws when it comes to, say, either roadside cleanliness, taxing people much more on plastic or waste, or communities on their waste generation? Should there be much more stringent policies?
So interestingly, I was having this conversation with someone yesterday that we can have laws, we can have we can introduce newer products. We were talking about EV at that point. Okay, EV cars are out, and it's raining a lot in Delhi, and there were like 3-4 cars that stopped midway because the water levels were too high and the car refused to go ahead. Okay, and we were just talking about this. For any laws, you can make them as strong, as strict as you want them to be, but do we have an ecosystem where we can support these laws? Do we have, if we say okay chalo plastic ban karo, do we have alternatives for everything? Now just the other day, I had ordered in some oats. Okay, I was just pretending to be a fancy person eating fancy food. That fancy food came from a very sustainable restaurant where the packaging was biodegradable. But I take a long time to eat my food. By the time I finished, the packaging had, like, it sort of got very soggy because it was not built to store the liquid. So if the government wants to say, okay, plastic ban, nobody using plastic for anything now, do we have any alternative?
Alternatives.
Do we
Yes.
have the ecosystem?
Yes.
That is the thing. We need an ecosystem for it first, right?
Totally.
What are we going to do?
Now that is where a lot of people have been talking. You provide us an alternative, we'll do that alternative. We'll also try using the alternative,
Ah,
right? Just don't tell us suddenly ki, no, your habits are bad, stop it. Who the hell are you to tell us that? Okay? Tell us, okay, this is what we have. Will you try it out? Fine, we'll try it out. What is the cost? If it's too expensive, I will not try it out. It has to be in my price point, right?
yeah.
That is also you have to see. So it has to be pretty sensitive. I mean, it has to be pretty sensitive that way. Just 1 second, huh? The price point has to be pretty sensitive in that point. Now, last question is, what would you do if you were, say, in the top level of the government, or one of these departments? Take a place, Pune, take your area where you are living, right? What change would you make, or
Yeah.
what would be your first attack point?
So I'd not want to be a top level position government person in a bigger city because I think I have lost hope with all the bigger cities. We can't do anything about them now. But tier three, tier two, tier three, the rural areas, they have just started developing. There is a lot of planning that can help these categories. Uh, what I would personally, I would take my hometown, Kolhapur. Um, we are actually doing quite well there already. There is a ban on plastics. You cannot actually use them openly. You cannot smoke in public places and throw those buds anywhere. Okay, that's the thing. If the cop sees you, you're gone. So
So
you can't
is there
throw
fear built
trash.
into people? Is there fear slowly built into the people?
Yes,
uh,
yes.
See, that is
To
where
me
I want to
also.
get
I
to.
also think twice. I also think twice before doing anything like throwing anywhere because sometimes they tell you that what the hell, pick it up. You know, passerbys also do that. There is problem. I would want to start with increasing awareness because a lot of people do not come from that class where they're educated about things in a certain way. I myself have studied in a school which has not taught me sustainability. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people in Kolhapur who cannot afford sending their kids to like these fancy schools who are talking about sustainability. So, just increase awareness about things. One thing that I would want to start doing is the segregation of waste and doing something about the wet waste, be it in house, in your own house. Like there was this gentleman some few years ago who had come up with a compact manure making device. I don't know if it's still, compost pits, compact ones. I don't know if it's still working, but I'd introduce these smaller concepts to start with and then build up to the larger ones, because there are a lot of issues in smaller cities that could be solved by small interventions. Not a lot of you don't need a lot of money as much as you would need in bigger cities, but yeah, you probably make a lot of difference somewhere, maybe.
Okay, Anvi, thanks a ton. Appreciate the thing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You asked me all these questions, which I'm not really an expert of. I've just blabbered.
No,
I don't know what I've
that
blabbered,
is where you like.
but yeah.
You see, please understand, right? Now we've I what it's been like what 8 years, 7 years, what in this sector for me as well, right? And one thing I've learned
Yeah.
is that everything is not learned by experts. A lot of doable
Yeah.
roles are there in people who have not done. Like for example, in rural India, they are not experts to
Yeah. Yeah.
waste manage, yeah. So they are working on ways like you, and I can identify with you. You know. So thanks a ton, Anvi. Appreciate the call. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye bye.